So we're back in the war room, and today is another day. This is usually discussed in movies, but later on in the story, Jacob blesses Joseph's sons, and their names are Ephraim and Manasseh. Manasseh is the oldest, Ephraim is the youngest. At about this time, Jacob's really old. He's like 140, 130. He's really old, and he starts going blind, of course, because he's old. And he starts going blind and purposely switches his hands. His right hand was supposed to be the one that's supposed to bless the oldest. His left hand is supposed to be the one that blesses the youngest. He purposely switches his hands, and Jacob is on the floor before his father and kind of like respect and everything like that. So he doesn't see this happening at first, and he switches his hands and he gives the youngest one the oldest blessing and the oldest one the younger blessing. And Jacob gets up and switches his hand. He's like, "Dad, look what you're doing." He's basically like, "Dad, look what you're doing. You messed it up. Da 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 da. You have to bless. You gotta bless him. Then you gotta bless him." And Jacob was like, "I know what I'm doing, son. Like, I'm not that blind. I know which one is which. One is shorter than the other. I can still feel that. I get that. But this is the way that God wants it to be. Manasseh will still be a great nation, but Ephraim is going to be better than his brother." The youngest one a lot of times this happens in the Bible. Youngest one getting blessed before the oldest one. It happened with Jacob and Esau. It happened with Joseph, so I don't really know why Joseph's really upset. But because the same thing happened to him. It happens again later on when I'm going to tell you about Jacob blessing his other 12 sons. And it happens again and again. Actually, I can tell you about him blessing his other 12 sons. There was good and there was bad. Reuben was the oldest of the tribes of Israel. He's the oldest, but he was not blessed to be the oldest. Have you ever heard of Lion of Judah? Lion of Judah. Judah was the fourth son of Leah, which is the other wife of Jacob. And he's the one that Jacob said would be the head of all the tribes of Israel. And Reuben missed out on his blessing because of something that, I don't know, kids are watching this, so I'm not going to mention this. But Reuben missed out on his blessing because he was bad. And he disrespected his father in one of the worst ways that I think is possible. Not the worst, but it's up there. He disrespected his father. And Judah instead was put at the head. A lot of times in the Bible, you'll see that the eldest isn't always put first. And you'll see this, and that's really like now it'll become like, oh, okay, nowadays. But back then, the eldest was boom, that was the best thing. That was the best birthright, the best inheritance, being the eldest. Acts 10:34, it states, by Peter, it says, "Then Peter opened his mouth and said, 'Of truth I perceive that God is no respecter of persons.'" That basically means that he doesn't care if you're a diplomat, he doesn't care if you're a king, because he sets kings up and he tears them down. He created this whole entire universe, so he doesn't care what your opinion, he doesn't really care what your stance is, what he says goes, basically. It's kind of like a kid talking to their parent and being like, "Oh, well, I want a boyfriend," and the parent's like, "You're 8, so I'm not gonna let you have a boyfriend," kind of thing. And the parents just shut it down, foot put down, what I say go, as it should be, because no 8-year-old should be talking to their parent with their hand on their hip and not in their head like this, because they need this backhand. That's what they need. Out of parent politics and back into the Bible, full of parent politics. Blessings, though, Judah wasn't even the first, even close. He was Jacob's fourth son, so he wasn't the second in line or anything like that. Jacob skipped all over them, and he said Judah is going to be the line of Judah. He's going to be the head of all the tribes of Israel. And then Joseph got the longest blessing out of all his brothers, and he's nowhere close to the first of his brothers. He was actually the second to last of his brothers. But yeah, he got the longest blessing out of all of them. Judah got the head blessing, but Joseph got the longest blessing out of all of Jacob's sons. Some of the other brothers did get good blessings, but some of them didn't get so good blessings. But again, the truth is rarely welcome, always criticized, yet never changing. Jacob gave out his blessing because he knew he was going to die soon. So Jacob died, and then later on it says that Joseph died. And after Joseph and Jacob died, later on the prophecy that God told Abraham is fulfilled about the Israelites going into slavery, but that's a whole other story. But God spoke to Abraham hundreds of years before the whole new Israelites have gone into Egypt. And he said unto Abraham, "Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs," which happened because the Israelites are not a land of Egypt, and actually Egypt hated. They thought that shepherds were abomination, and Israelites are clan of shepherds, so it was a strange nation to them, in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall be afflicted them for 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards they shall come out with great substance. In history books that aren't even the Bible, you can still see the recordings of the Israelites being in Egypt. And if you look at this, I'm gonna probably tell you guys, if you guys want to know about the archaeological video that I saw, that there actually is findings. They're just looking in the wrong time zone, but there actually is finding of the Exodus. So the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob still gave news to the people that he left. He gave news to Abraham that I'm pretty sure was not welcome, because he didn't want to hear about this new nation of his that's going to come from him being enslaved for 400 years. And it's always criticized, but it's never changing. Like Abraham did. Are you willing to give up your doctrine, your rituals, your social security, your security in what is socially correct nowadays? Are you willing to give up your life as you know it now for truth? So many reject the truth not because they think it's a lie, but because they're saying it's a lie because it's convenient to them, and because they don't want to change what they believe, and they don't want to change how they go to church, and they don't want to change how they dress, and they don't want to change what they believe because it's inconvenient. I urge you to read the Bible for what it is. Don't turn away from the truth. Don't try to find a loophole. Let God lead you into all truth. Don't try to find your own truth. Let him show you himself to you. Let him show you him. And it'll be the best experience of your life, I promise. May God bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance and give you peace. And I pray that you guys are safe on the road, safe wherever you are, safe from all harm and danger, and that no fiery darts or no weapon formed against you shall prosper.